I know there's some intrigue in the White House, some developments. You had to break away to get all the details yesterday. What do you got?
Owen, I'm glad to be with you. I'm sorry that we've had technical issues because I wanted you to see the hat that I'm sporting on today's show.
We saw the beautiful beret.
This is known as the Rob Do. Will be available soon on the Infowars.com store with the Infowars logo on the front of it.
Wow.
Che Guevara wear one. Roger Stone wears one. Rob Do wears one. When are you going to get with the program, Owen?
Well, Roger, I just don't know if I can pull that look off. It's not a look that it's just not my look. I don't know.
Anyway, glad to be with you today.
I'm looking forward to the hat. Maybe I'll wear the hat once we get it on the store.
The news out of the White House, reported by today's New York Times, is incredibly accurate. And if you go back to the Alex Jones show several months ago, I predicted that the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, would be gone by January 1st. Let's call this the Rexit. Now, this is probably not surprising for a number of reasons. First of all, the fact that Rex Tillerson was recommended for his current job as Secretary of State by none other than Condoleezza Rice, the National Security Advisor under George W. Bush, one of the major cheerleaders for the Iraq War. And Tillerson and the president have never really shared the same worldview when it comes to foreign policy. The president ran as an anti-interventionist, not an isolationist. He understands that ISIS is evil and they don't mean us any good. He knows that he is forced as president to clean up the loose ends that are caused by the last 30 years of a neocon-based foreign policy in which we were sticking our nose into all kinds of international conflicts where we had no inherent interests. Beyond that, I don't think Tillerson was ever a particularly great fit in terms of style. Remember, when you go from being the head of AT&T, or in his case, the head of Exxon, he had a fleet of airplanes at his disposal. He had a platoon of personal aides at his disposal. And he was used to what we see in business. The boss gives an order, the order is carried out. In government, when the boss gives an order, the bureaucrats yawn and then they leave for lunch. And I don't think he ever got the difference between business and politics. I think, in truth, Owen, the president has found it disconcerting and a little disorienting because in the high-power world of real estate, when Donald Trump gave an order, his orders were carried out. Now when Donald Trump gives an order to the bureaucracy, they do their very best to try to ignore him. Then the question becomes, what will happen to the job of Secretary of State? This is a killer job. This is not a job for a man or woman in their 70s. It's nonstop travel. My friend Jim Baker, Secretary of the Treasury, former White House Chief of Staff under Ronald Reagan, just aged visibly in his time in this role because it's so incredibly stressful. What appears to be in the works is a competition between the current CIA director, Mr. Pompeo, and the current United Nations ambassador, Nikki Haley. I would say Pompeo, who is a bit of an enigma to me, has the leg up in that contest.
Now, is that specifically because Pompeo is somebody that Trump brought in himself, whereas Haley was already there before Trump?
Well, they're both Trump appointees. Let's go through the history on each. Pompeo is an enigma because as a member of the House, he tended to hang with the Freedom Caucus and be a more libertarian and reform-oriented Republican. Now, for reasons that I really cannot put my finger on, he just seems to be a running dog lackey for the mandarins at the CIA. No matter what lie they tell, he'll swear to it. For example, Julian Assange is a Russian asset. That's a lie. That's false. They have no evidence that proves that. And when you ask them under oath in Congress, as they asked, for example, James Comey, he said, and I quote, yeah, we think they used some kind of cutout there. Does that sound like proof to you? So for some reason, who knows, maybe they have Pompeo's children held captive in a warehouse someplace. I can't explain why he's gone overnight from being a fairly thoughtful, libertarian-oriented member of the House to being an apologist for the deep state.
Well, we're going to have more of this on the other side. I've got a couple questions for Roger. More White House intrigue as there appears to be shakeups coming for the Secretary of State. Brexit on its way. Who will replace him? We've got more of it on the other side with Roger Stone. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're at the War Room with an absentee Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. You know, Alex Jones really hit it on the head when he said that we are the tip of the spear, that we are the revolution, which is why I ask all of our supporters and those who are inherently interested in the truth to go to the Infowars.com store right now and pick up on some of these extraordinary bargains. I really don't know how Alex Jones does this. 67% off Silver Bullet, literally the finest silver colloidal formula I've been able to find. 50% off on Brain Force Plus. I know a lot of libtards who could use a lot of this. That's a tremendous price. 50% off of Survival Shield. This really kind of torques up your immunity for this time of year. With the season change, my family swears by this product. And the best thing about buying at the Infowars.com store is you not only help us, you help yourself, but you help fund what Alex Jones has in mind is an extraordinary expansion as we take on CNN and Fox and others and leave them in the dust. They're fake news. You can fund the real news by going to the Infowars.com store now. And when it comes to Christmas gifts, the books, the T-shirts, the First Amendment-oriented T-shirts, some extraordinary deep bargains here, great products, your family will be delighted, and you will be funding the American Renaissance and the resistance to the atheistic, godless globalists that seek to destroy this country. So, folks, hit the site now and help us and help yourself. Oh, and it's extraordinary that yesterday, at about the time that we were on the War Room, the news hit the circuits that Randy Credico, veteran New York activist, very, very popular radio host at WBAI, a progressive left station in New York City, was revealed to be my source with WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. You will recall when I testified for the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, Congressman Swalwell, and others demanded to know who was the journalist who had confirmed for me that when Julian Assange said on July 21st of last year that he had a trove of material on Hillary that he would publish, that was correct. Now, Credico has interviewed Julian Assange 3 times in landmark interviews. This is some of the best radio journalism you're going to hear. When no other host in America really could get Assange on the phone, Credico was able to get to a number of the issues and give Assange an opportunity to respond to the canard being peddled by our non-intelligence agencies that Assange was a Russian asset and WikiLeaks was a Russian front. Interestingly now, the House Intelligence Committee had this information. I only reluctantly turned over his name. I did not supply it when I testified. I attempted to shield Credico for 2 reasons. One, because I believe there would be an effort to hurt him professionally if his name became known. I was worried about blowback and an attack on him. And secondarily, he is a journalist, and our conversation was off the record, which generally is respected in this country. I stress to you that Credico's role was exceedingly limited. I knew that he knew Assange. I knew that Assange trusted him, or he would not have had his interviews. And I knew that he could simply confirm for me, before I went to InfoWars with it, that Assange had the goods on Hillary. As you know, we like to have multiple sources on anything we report. When we pick up a fragment of information, it's vitally important that it be confirmed. And Credico confirmed for me. Now he is the subject of an extraordinary witch hunt. The House Intelligence Committee wants him to testify. He has declined. They have issued a subpoena and it made it very clear that he will be detained if he refuses to show up. Now, Randy Credico is a very interesting guy. He got his start as a stand-up comic and impressionist. By the way, you should hear his Alex Jones. It's amazing. He had a meteoric career. He then crashed and burned with a drug abuse problem after being on with Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, and others. Then he has come back from that personal adversity and headed a guerrilla movement for drug law reform, for the legalization of marijuana, and for prison reform. And he's really a character. He uses street theater and his talents as an impressionist to puncture the hypocrisy of the political establishment here in New York. He's a good man, and he's being harassed by the deep state simply because he did the work that journalists do. He confirmed that Julian Assange did in fact have the goods on Hillary and that they would publish them in October.
Well, the amazing thing to me, Roger, is that Julian Assange, historically, I mean, you would probably classify him as a real liberal. I mean, as someone who actually kind of has more liberal political beliefs, not the foaming at the mouth leftist that we deal with now. But that's why I think, in the past, Julian has always kind of gravitated towards liberal people in the media and not as much conservatives. But all of a sudden, that's conveniently forgotten.
Well, I think you're exactly right, Owen. All of my liberal friends thought Julian Assange was terrific when he was torturing George W. Bush and when he was revealing the deep secrets of the Bush administration. Now, I must tell you, I think Assange is neither left nor right. He's just a journalist, and he reports what he finds. He goes where the facts lead him, and the facts have led him to massive cover-ups of corruption by the deep state. He's publishing information about Hillary because Hillary and her husband have been in power for 30 years. I guarantee you, if he had some negative or derogatory information on Donald Trump, he would print it. But Donald Trump hasn't been running the country for 30 years. He's been running a private real estate company. Those Democrats kept saying, well, why aren't you attacking Trump? It's kind of ludicrous. It wasn't Donald Trump who said, why don't we use a drone to kill Julian Assange?
Yeah, and it feels to me that they're really struggling to accept the fact that the content of the emails is real. It's like they're trying to divert on 1,000 different distractions, blame Assange, blame Stone, blame everything, but don't actually look at the content of the emails.
Welcome back to the War Room with your hosts, Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. Ironically, we had the veteran New York comic and activist Randy Credico right here at the War Room last September. Let's play a little bit of that.
With the Democrats. What do you think former President Richard Nixon would have thought of this?
Well, I would have said this is something right out of Bobby Baker's playbook. The way he was able to maneuver this, Schumer, and get the deal. I got to give Mr. Trump credit. He did the right thing. You could call it Machiavellian, but this is real politics, my friend. And he did something that I would say was very skillful and going right to the Democrats and Chuck Schumer.
Well, for those who haven't figured this out, we are joined by WBAI's Randy Credico. who is not only a crusading critic of the deep state, a liberal Democrat, a former opponent of Senator Schumer, but also in a previous career was one of the most celebrated impressionists in the show business realm. And I appreciate your joining us, Randy, and showing us the various characters that you are able to bring to life.
Well, it's great to be on the show, Roger. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say, this race against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, just to stick on her for a minute. First of all, I don't think she's going to be the Democratic candidate. This guy Canova is going to be running.
There you have it, Randy Credico, extraordinarily talented individual and someone deeply committed to opposing the deep state. Truly a crusader for justice, and right now, everybody in New York and in the media in Washington, New York, is seeking to get Randy Credico for an interview. Even your hero, Owen, Don Lemon from CNN.
Wait, Lemonhead? Lemonhead can't get the interview?
He's been trying to book Randy Credico. Credico is laying low. His lawyers indicated to my attorneys that he may choose to exert his Fifth Amendment privileges and not be questioned by the Adam Schiff witch hunt. So stay tuned. We'll see how this develops. I asked Randy a week ago whether he was prepared to spend some time in jail if he thwarted a congressional subpoena, and he said, well, it wouldn't be the first time I've been in jail. He has been willing to be jailed at various protests here in New York just to try to make his point. So I would urge the deep staters not to challenge him. Plus, he told me he has been brushing up his Frank Pantangela impression if he is called. Roger Stone this, Roger Stone that. Could be very entertaining.
Well, and that's why, see, there's this weird complex, I think, right now in the liberal media that they aren't getting the juicies from Assange. They want that access. They're not getting it because Assange knows they're fake news. So they give it to Credico, and then they're fully triggered that Credico gets it and not them. But that's why they go to Credico, because he's a real source, and he's not going to sell out the people that give him the intel.
Well, and let's be very clear. He is most definitely not a supporter of Donald Trump. I believe he supported Jill Stein in the last election. He is a liberal Democrat. He challenged Chuck Schumer in the Democratic primary to try to dramatize the issue of drug law reform. He ran as a write-in candidate for governor. This is somebody who understands street theater and understands how to make a point. And I have a feeling that if he appeared before the committee, first of all, he has a dead-on impression of Adam Schiff, which you got to hear. It's just amazing, just amazing.
I don't even know how you would do that. How you could do a pencil neck impression.
Well, Credico has it mastered because he's got that high, squeaky, and almost effeminate voice.
And then he just kind of chugs a gallon of soy milk, and then he's good to go.
As I said yesterday on the Alex Jones show, extraordinarily, Mr. Schiff has sponsored legislation currently in the U.S. Congress that declares that the U.S. government has never paid out any monies whatsoever for damages pertaining to vaccinations. Now, we know that the courts, the federal courts, have required the government to pay out more than $3.5 billion in the last 10 years for individuals who were damaged by mandatory government vaccinations. The register is on the internet. It's purposely made extremely hard to read and hard to search. But this is like saying the Holocaust never happened. It's just as outrageous as that statement. To say
I'm glad. Roger, I'm glad that you just said that. I'm about to bring this document in. We covered this ad nauseum yesterday. We actually got the federal document that shows the millions of dollars and the hundreds and thousands of cases of payouts for vaccine damages.
But Adam Schiff has his Resolution 327. A resolution, you understand, isn't a law. It's just like a sense of Congress, which actually says that no one has been injured by vaccinations.
We are literally showing the documents with the millions of dollars of payouts. What is Pencil Neck going to say, Neff? There's never been a payout for sexual harassment either?
It is pretty extraordinary that anyone can do this with a straight face. I mean, it is almost, I don't know. Yesterday I had Michelle Ford, the president of the Vaccine Injury Awareness League, on the Alex Jones show. An extraordinary woman doing an extraordinary job. But she pointed out that the health data collected by CDC since the 1990s is available online, but you cannot do a Freedom of Information request because they jointly store the information between private companies and the federal government. They're able to essentially shield the data from the American people. And it's really quite extraordinary. It's called, let's see, I've got the exact name of it. It is the National, pardon me, it's the, it's a warehouse of data that is controlled by CDC jointly with the insurers, including Kaiser Washington, Kaiser Northwest, Northern California Kaiser, Southern California Kaiser. Because they're collaborators, we are not entitled to this data. But it documents the billions of dollars being paid out to people who were damaged by these vaccinations. So it's hard to understand what Mr. Schiff could possibly be talking about. It would be like passing a resolution that says the sky is not blue.
And this is the same Pencil Neck obsessing over the Russian collusion fake news story. Roger, I'm sorry, what has Russia done to the American citizens? What damage has Russia done to the American citizens? None. What damage has vaccine done to American citizens? Well, according to the courts, millions and millions of dollars. Why aren't we complaining about vaccine companies colluding with the government? Where's that from Adam Schiff?
Well, and frankly, I think the House Ethics Committee should have a hearing on Adam Schiff's fundraising among arms dealers. I think that would be an apt subject for examination by the American people.
Well, I've been saying this for a while now. The longer they scream, the more skeletons they have in their closet. I'm guessing Adam Schiff has some skeletons in his closet that he's trying to distract from. All right, Roger Stone is with us for one more segment. This is The War Room. We are about to go to break. Support us at InfoWarsStore.com. Folks, we want to work hard because we know that you support us. So keep supporting us, and we'll continue to work hard. This is The War Room. One more segment with Roger Stone on the other side.
Welcome back to The War Room. I'm Roger Stone with my co-pilot, Owen Schroyer. And before we go any further, I want to ask you again to do your family Christmas shopping at the Infowars.com store. You see, we can't depend on mysterious globalist billionaires to foot the bill for our news reporting. We can only depend on the info warriors and the patriotic Americans out there who know you can go to Infowars.com and get the truth anytime, day or night. We've broken an extraordinary number of stories in the last 4 months. We were out front on who really funded the dirty dossier. We had it before anybody in the mainstream media. We correctly predicted that Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State, will be leaving that position by the end of the year. But if you want to continue to get these extraordinary scoops, then you need to help us out by going to the InfoWars store now and looking up some of these incredible specials. 67% off Silver Bullet, 50% off of Brain Force Plus. Every liberal you know could use a bottle of that. These are the very best all-natural products in the marketplace. I've tried them all. I've been a follower of Eastern medicine for many years. I understand the incredible value of high-quality herbs and other natural substances. And you could go to the drugstore and buy something with the same type of label and the same claim. But I can tell you right now, the quality of the ingredients won't touch what Alex Jones and his team of scientists have at the Infowars.com store. In every genre, these are the best products on the market. You cannot find better products. And to just get on the store and be listed for sale, you have to undergo rigorous testing, because Alex Jones will never bring you anything that is second best. So you can help yourself, you can help us, but more importantly, you can help America, because we are the tip of the spear. Owen, back to you.
Well, Roger, we're dealing with a lot of double standards, and I think that our hope is, at the end of the day, that if we expose these double standards, that people in the middle will start to gravitate towards what people want to call conservatives or nationalists or what have you. But I've got a topic that I'd like to discuss with you real quick. We've all heard the term mainstream media. In fact, this was a term that Alex Jones really kind of revolutionized to identify the government media, Democrat media complex spin machine. But Roger, I think we've reached a new point now where I don't even want to call it mainstream media anymore. I think mainstream media is dead, because when we say mainstream media, we're referring to, honestly, the liberal leftist media like MSNBC, CNN, because Fox News has honestly separated themselves, you know, for the most part. I'm not saying Fox News is perfect. I'm saying for the most part, you can now distinctly tell the difference between CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. So I want to declare mainstream media dead. I think mainstream media is dead, and it's now time to replace the term mainstream media with fake news media. That's what they are. CNN and MSNBC is literally fake media. Do you think that's a fair analysis at this point in time?
Well, if you go by the ratings, if you go by the dwindling audience size, if you go by the damaged reputation and the ebbing credibility, you'd have to say yes. Now, Owen, I know you won't be happy until Don Lemon is out on the corner with a tin cup.
No, I love watching Lemonhead. It's very entertaining.
The man is devoid of any talent whatsoever that I can see. It's quite extraordinary. There is literally no there there. But that said, where are the ratings? In other words, AT&T is seeking to merge with Time Warner, which owns CNN. I would say AT&T would be justified in making huge changes at CNN if they get control of it, because of declining revenues and ratings. Nobody watching. And the people who are watching are shaking their heads because they don't believe whatever fake Tapper is dishing out. In fact, I learned it was fake Tapper who complained to Twitter that he felt threatened by my tweets. Threatened, a grown man, because I said he should be fired. Extraordinary.
Well, and it's funny to me because it seems like everything you said about Don Lemon was accurate. I didn't find anything inaccurate about what you were saying. Guys, I was showing you this article. I've got another question for Roger here, and we don't have this audio yet, but guys, I was showing you this article because I want you to actually, for the next segment, if you could actually pull this video. Roger, there's a story going around right now claiming that people are getting robocalls about posting about Trump. So this guy says that, and more people are saying that they're getting literally a robocall from somebody calling them when they post negatively about Trump, basically saying they're representing Donald Trump and they wish they would stop posting these negative posts and they need to stop it. Now, I honestly think this is fake. I think the whole thing is staged, but I don't know the facts yet, and I'm going to try to analyze this here. But have you ever heard of anything like this? I mean, what is your first response? I don't think Trump's team would pay for robocalls addressing negative posts about him on social media. That does not seem anywhere near the Trump administration agenda.
No, this smells of David Brock and his dirty tricks agenda. Nobody in politics would ever gear up a phone bank or authorize a robocall to someone that they know is hostile and tell them to stop posting. It makes no sense. It would have no political value. You'd be wasting your money. Mm-hmm. Plus, it's offensive. We do have what's called the First Amendment. Under the First Amendment, liberals are allowed to be stupid. They have a constitutional right
and
to
hateful
be wrong.
too. Hey, well, Roger, don't short stack them here. They can be stupid and hateful.
And wrong. They're entitled to be wrong. And I would defend to the death their right to be wrong. That's why I'm against censorship. I don't care if you're the most whacked out left-winger in the world. You shouldn't be censored at Twitter. Now, when you, as someone did who's verified only 2 days ago, someone posted, if Roger Stone is not in prison by Christmas, I will put a bullet in his head. That person is still verified at Twitter.
That's disgusting.
It's amazing, yet when I hurt the delicate sensibilities of Jake Tapper, well, I'm banned for life. As I have said before on the program, there's a lawsuit coming that will turn the entire internet question of censorship on its ear. Stay tuned. The mother of all lawsuits coming shortly. My friend Milo and I and a number of other conservatives whose voices are being silenced not because of what we say, but because of who we are and what we believe in, we will have our day in court with Twitter feed Nazis.
Roger, this is Jake Tapper from CNN, and I just have to say that I find it very offensive that you would tweet about me, tweet about my friend and colleague Don Lemon, but then more offensive that you wouldn't even consider me for the best dressed. Haven't you seen my ties, Roger?
Well, ironically, Jake Tapper has had 1 year, I believe, on the best dress list, but he's now been replaced by Owen Schroyer.
I can't believe that you would give a conservative Trump head, obviously a Nazi like Owen Schroyer, space on your best dress list. I'm Jake Tapper from CNN. Look at me.
Well, you raise a very good point here, Owen, and that is, as you know, my Mr. Stone.
Whoa, that was Jake Tapper speaking, Roger. That was Jake. Yeah.
My international best and worst dressed list, which will come out on the Daily Caller, comes out on New Year's Day every year, is currently in formulation. Therefore, if any InfoWarriors out there have nominees for either best or worst dressed, we're all ears. All ears. Send it to us. Those lists are being compiled now, and you'll see who the winners and losers are on New Year's Day.
Well, I'm Jake Tapper from CNN, and I'd like to nominate myself. And if I see that I didn't win Best Dressed this year and I see your story on Twitter, I'm going to report you and have it banned.
All right, there's Jake Tapper. Wow, Roger, you really upset Jake not putting him on the Best Dressed list again.
Boy, Randy Credico would be jealous. That's the best Jake Tapper imitation I've ever heard.
I'll be honest, it's really it's quite easy. I just hold my nose and I sound all nasally like a little wimp, like a soy boy, and you're good to go. So there it is. Any final words, Roger?
Well, I do want to ask our followers one more time. Hit the Infowars.com store for all your Christmas shopping and help us fund the revolution.
We are the tip of the spear. The more you support us, the sharper our edge gets.